number one. And this opportunity agenda is going to take all of us. Government can't do it all. It's going to take first and foremost the community. Government can work with the community. I am very clear that the ills that we face in our city is not to have more police officers on the street. That's not the answer. It is not to have more and more big buildings, and we need it, because that brings in money. But it is to change systemic issues that we face in our families. And I want to share a story with you real brief. I just left St. Bernardine's, and I spoke at their mother and daughter and son luncheon. And I was sharing something about angels, and I was telling the individuals about how many angels that are around us. And I was saying some other things, and this little girl came up to me when it was all over. And she first asked me the question, how could I see angel stories with the young people and parents at this event? And I was shocked. And I then began to explain to her that the angels that I was talking about in my speech, is the people in our community that encourage us, the people in our community that work to make the difference, the people in our community that pray for us, the people in our community that come up to you or me or any of us and give us a word of encouragement. I try to share with her those were the angels. But she asked me another question that's really heavy on my heart. She said, I live with my grandmother and I live with my father. And my father drinks alcohol. How can you help him? Because when he drinks, he's mean, he doesn't hurt me. And I said to her, have you ever said to your father, I will find you help? And she said, yes, but he doesn't listen. He just drinks and goes in his room. And I looked at her and said, I don't know what it's going to take, but between your grandmother and me and whoever else, we're going to find a way to help your father. And I'm sharing this story because there are a whole lot of kids in our community who are facing that same struggle. And for that little girl, she was 7 years old, who came over to me and shared that, reinforced for me that if we don't address the entire family and the needs of our families, no matter where they are, no matter what the situation is, that we have not done our job. And so today, you're here to help all of us to make sure that we are all on the same page to provide opportunities for our families and our children. And so I stand here committed to do whatever it takes for city government to be a partner in that, with you moving this city forward, because that's what's going to make the difference. Thank you.
even on the wire. I have the privilege and the honor to introduce a good friend of mine, Judge Katie O'Malley, and she happens to be the First Lady of the state. A few words about this lady. She believes in the youth in this city. She believes strongly in me, and I believe that she believes in every young person, boy and girl in this city, and we should all give her a round of applause and stand up ovation to Ms. Judge O'Malley.
Thank you, Devon Brett. Devon's my very special friend. I met him a few years ago, and I have to tell you, he's been a great guidance for me in dealing with different issues that face kids, because Devon comes to my courtroom on a weekly basis and sits in and watches what I see. And what I see every day are sometimes some good stories, but most too often, I see some very, very sad things. I see 19-year-olds, 18-year-olds, 20 and older, a lot of adults who have never really had a chance to be children, and therefore when they do become adults, they don't end up being productive. They end up being gang members, oftentimes end up selling drugs, using drugs, becoming addicted, and not being able to fulfill their full potential as citizens of our great city and our lovely state and wonderful country. So I'm so glad to hear that there's been about, I think, 8,000 people here today at the organization, at this summit, the Opportunity Summit. And each person that's come through here, I'm sure, has felt the positive vibration that I felt coming in, seeing all these great young faces that want the opportunities. And it's not enough to say that we have to give opportunities to these children. What we have to do is fund those opportunities and continue to fund those opportunities. And in my role as the First Lady of the state of Maryland, one of my major initiatives is going to be truancy. Because I think if we can't get our kids to graduate from high school, then we're not going to be going too much further. So I'm going to be working on that as an initiative, and any and all help that you all can give me with that, I'd appreciate it. And when again, thank you so much for the opportunity to be here today. I'm going to be walking around and looking at the different booths and hopefully meeting a lot of people that can give me some ideas on what I can also do to help you with this vision. So thanks again and have a great day.
June 1st last week, as we dedicated a song and a movement to our homeless individuals in our community. And we're going to let the Lord get us ready.
Is Willie the Bam Johnson. Willie the Bam Johnson is very unique in that he has set a record in America today by being the first wushu stylist to be rated in the 3 major categories of martial arts. 2 different levels of forms, 2 weight classes of fighting, and weapons in martial arts.
Well, I was born and raised in Baltimore, Maryland. Started off in the martial arts when I was 6. You know, probably like a lot of other little kids. For the goal of wanting to be like Bruce Lee. Say my first Bruce Lee movie was like, yeah, I want to be just like this guy, you know. Right. I want to be the black Bruce Lee on a movie screen. So that was really my that was really my start. That's how I got involved. I wanted to get into the movies.
Now that far back, was there anybody really teaching youngsters at 6 years old, or did you work with someone, or how did you get started in Baltimore?
And it's real strange, because my family didn't even have the money to even afford classes. They couldn't pay for me to study karate or kung fu. So I used to pick up books, go to the movies, and just imitate what I seen on the movie screen. I just had this desire. Nobody couldn't stand in my way. I just had to take what I seen on the screen, take what I seen in them books, and just practice. Even when people told me I couldn't, reach those goals, it was like, I'm gonna do it. So I really started on my own,
I think a lot of martial artists kind of can relate with that, because I think anybody that started over 20 years ago, there weren't as many schools then, and a lot of us got our starts by running back and forth to New York and watching the Kung Fu movie.
Sure.
So you come home and practice whatever. So your system kind of was whatever was in the movies that day.
Yeah.
Oh, that's really interesting. And did you work with any particular instructor? When did you start into formal? You have had formal training, is that right?
Yes, sir. I say when I was around 9, I went to a community center called McKelm's Community Center, and I got in contact with an instructor named Kenneth Parker, and he was skilled in Korean form of martial arts called Kangdakwan and Wing Chun Kung Fu. And he was really impressed by, with my ability. He started teaching me within about maybe 6 months or so. I got a black belt, and then I started studying with a young man by the name of Tony Lin. He started at school.
I know Tony Lin.
Yes, sir.
I know Tony Lin, right?
Yes, sir.
I'll go ahead.
And when I went to his school, he was really impressed with my ability, and it was like immediately he started giving me advanced forms, put me in his advanced group, and I picked up the forms, and I really got the curriculum down pat. And I just happened to pick up a magazine one day, because I still wanted to move. I didn't feel like I was moving anywhere. I wanted to get out there and compete. And
well, it's funny you mentioned Tony Lin, because I know, you've worked with me and you've worked with other instructors, but that means that your first instructor, Tony Lin, or the first one that got you interested in the Kung Fu side, was my instructor's brother.
Yes, sir.
That's kind of a coincidence. I didn't know you had studied with Tony Lin also.
Yes, sir.
And so how would you compare that with you started in karate then? Is that right?
Yes, sir.
So how would you compare that with the training that you had in karate, or did one system fit you better than the other, or?
I think both systems are strong, and I really appreciate the principles and the the technique in each system. But I came more involved in the Kung Fu because it allowed me to express my acrobatical techniques and so forth. And it helped me to be able to relax more when I was working my techniques. It wasn't really aggressive, and I really needed something based on my personality. I'm a real aggressive person, so I needed something just to help me to show the more sensitive side of me, and Kung Fu allowed me to do that.
Okay, now I know that one of your loves is competition, and in fact that's why we have you here today, because I picked up a couple of magazines a while ago and read something that said that you had kind of made history. You were one of the first Wushu stylists, not to be rated in forms or to be rated in fighting or to be rated in weapons, but the first Kung Fu Wushu stylist to be rated in all 3 categories nationally at the same time. Is that right?
Yes, sir.
Well, how difficult is that to do?
Well, first I have to give all praise and all just due to God, just the strength beyond my grasp. But all of my training, I always trained in each aspect, forms, fighting, and weapons. Even when I was in karate, I trained in fighting, forms, and weapons. I believe in a total martial artist,
Let's be serious here now, because I'm a Kung Fu stylist, so we have to be honest. Most Kung Fu schools generally come out and they do their forms, and they're great with that. They do weapons, and that's nice, but generally what would happen is they come out, do their forms and weapons, and then they say, well, let's go up in the stands and let the karate guys come down and fight. So you're kind of a strange guy being a Kung Fu guy that fights, because I know from 20-some years in Kung Fu that most Kung Fu stylists are not known to be competition fighters. Is that right?
Yeah, that's true. And I believe that it's really the individual
out there mad at us today now by saying that, but I want to take it right from you, because I know that you are a fighter. I know you love to do forms and love to do weapons. I know guys that are great at this, great at that, but you chose to go with all 3. It's very difficult to try to excel in 3. There are a lot of forms competitors who can fight, but they choose to, feature just the forms to try to become rated in that. It seemed that it would be a lot more difficult to try to do all.
So that's my base. That's how I came up. Always fought, always did forms, always did weapons. I think really when a lot of people always talk about Wushu people, they can't fight. They just can do great forms, they can do acrobatics, they can't fight. But for me, I believe it's the individual that brings something to that, comes into that system and brings that system alive. So when I came into Kung Fu, based on my experience in karate, all we used to do was just fight. So when I came to Kung Fu, it's like, yeah, this is my opportunity to excel, to really be expressive in my style of fighting. So the Wushu gives me that martial artist.
But I know that doesn't really come easy. I mean, I know there's a certain amount of training involved with that. What does a martial artist like you do to stay in shape, and how do you train for 3 different categories?
Well, it all starts, I get up 6 o'clock and move right into what I believe.
6 o'clock in the morning?
Yes, sir, 6 o'clock, 6 o'clock. But it's a key for me. I go right into prayer and meditation. And I do that at least for about maybe 20 minutes or so. And then I'm off and running for about an hour. And that's how I start my day. It helps me be able to clear my mind. At the same time, I listen to positive thinking tapes, musical tapes. After the workout, I have to go into teaching. So I have to stay pumped. I have to get the right frame of mind. I have to get the right attitude, a positive attitude. I believe that's important, your attitude. After the morning workout, I'm off to the school. From 10 to 9:30 at night, I'm teaching. And I also have another workout in between the day when I should be out taking a lunch break, or when everybody else is out taking a lunch break, I'm working out for 2 hours, working my forms and my weapons. And then when I start teaching classes around 4 o'clock, I'm working with the students, constantly working, putting out that energy.
That's a pretty extensive day, though, isn't it? I mean, all day long. This is a day that Bruce Lee would have ended real well for you so far. In fact, I have a surprise for you, because what we have is a clip here of you performing in one of the many competitions. This happens to be one of the national competitions, one of the AAA NASCA tournaments that are out here on the circuit. And everybody in martial arts knows exactly what NASCA is. It's North American Sports Karate, one of the major circuits. But we're going to break away here for just a second, and let's look at a little bit of... That was Marty Eubanks, I believe.
Sir.
Yeah, that was real sure. I believe that was 84. He was number 1 in the country at that time.
Sir.
Remember, fond memories of that. Well, okay. Well, Bam, one of the things I wanted to get into before we get any further in the show is I understand that you're doing a lot of community work now, and I know that that's something that's very dear to your heart, working with youngsters. And I see you have that patch on that says Champions Against Drugs. Tell us a little bit about the work you're doing there.
Well, the Champions Against Drugs program is a national program. They have national spokespeople like John Alway, Dave Stewart, from different sports, and they elected me as the national spokesperson for the field of martial arts. And it's like a personal goal for me to go back to my community and go back to the lower income communities and try to motivate the kids to believe in themselves, to help them realize that whatever they believe in, they can achieve.
You came up with the projects over in Baltimore, so I guess when you go back, it's like a hometown hero. Yeah,
So
something like that.
So,
and if anything else, if nothing else, it makes the people listen to you, and maybe youngsters feel a little bit positive about that.
Well, I'm currently overseeing 9 locations. We have 4 dojos, including our rural headquarters development now down in Fort Lauderdale, and we have 5 up in Syracuse, New York, and planning on being up to 20 by 2010. So we've got plans for growth personally and professionally for celebrating my 30th anniversary on November 1st. I've earned a fine living in it. I can certainly support my family and many others, but I'm also seeing people under me that are learning the system. I think one of the challenges with the martial arts is we're so much into just the martial arts that we don't become a black belt in business. And weekends like we're at here now at the EFC Black Belt Summit does teach you to become a black belt in business. And when you can become parallel, an expert in the business as well as an expert on the floor and on the mat, that's when you're going to see you can definitely. I can talk about being a great martial arts entrepreneur, right? Plugged in, 24/7. You're passionate about what you do. It's not work. It's pure joy. They say there's over 2 million self-made millionaires right now. Those are entrepreneurs. Those are people that decided that they're going to become millionaires, be wealthy and successful. But they do say that they average work of 59 hours plus a week. Well, I've never expected to be a 45-hour-a-week person. When you're willing to commit yourself to 60 plus hours of work, put your head down. You look around the martial arts, there's so many great entrepreneurs, but they're masked. You look at Ernie Clinton and Ernie Reyes, who looks at his demo teams, and they look at what he's done with his son through some of the movies, etc. That man's overseeing a major martial arts empire, and again, he's got that passion for it. He struggled. He went through his times. I'm sure if you could talk to anybody in the martial arts field, how many lived in their dojo or had to spend more hours in their dojo than they might have cared to get where they're at now. I started in a 2-bedroom trailer, living with my brother Joe. Now I live in a $2 million estate up near the coast in Florida. So I know it can be done. If I can do it, anybody can do it.
how important are loyal and committed customers?
Well, you have to create them. I think if you're loyal and committed to them, you're going to have more of them that are loyal and committed. Soprano, send up the hit squad. Other than that, there's another theory. Leave them to happen. Just forget about it. Move on. There are so many that will be loyal and committed. You can't lose sleep over that small percentage. I don't know. I'm not at the highest level yet. I still got a lot more levels to go, but I do see, at least in the environment I've surrounded myself with, we love each other. It's not like I'll continue to expand ourselves in every area. We're going to see that in the next 10, 20 years, we're not just taking ourselves, but taking the entire industry to a whole new level of impact of what it's doing in the world. They say that in the U.S. we're only impacting about 2% of the population. That means 98% of the people out there aren't training yet. We got to get them in.
I'd like to thank the mayor's office and definitely the city of Baltimore for putting this on for our children. Come on now, we can give them a little more time. Please, man. The club with my celebrity. That will come out of course. I want you to not really like she didn't check the board. That's what it was. That's what they were running for. The boys is the man to talk. But that Jesus and I keep some other check on. It's in the car. It's the car. We ain't come. Fly with the onions like a river. If I kick the whole rubber band, I can understand what they think on. But I don't keep the shit on. I ain't got a grill, but you can't put stick on it. But I ain't no use to man. Let me buy you a truck. Alright, we about to continue on. Georgia tonight. I don't care if you don't like me. Put it in the game. Y'all just mad cause you ain't in my weight place. Y'all know when I'm jumping down that stage. You more scared than the angel or Halloween. My balls is toxic, I might be in quarantine. If I'm on fire, this beat must be gassing. My music is addicted. I spit guillotine, repping energies and everything you see. Stalking up, these people waste of my time. Y'all just mad, you don't be such lines. I'm still pressing on your stairs. Y'all might have to put me under the jail.
one thing I gotta understand, you know, I'm trying to make a change. I'm trying to do like...
Nicely done.
I've seen a lot of performances in my day, and I'm one of the greatest performers of all time, on the side note. But what I saw on stage, the hottest thing I ever seen. They blew it up. It was nasty, crazy, insane, fire. I loved it. I would see it again and again and again repeatedly and tell people to come see it again and again.
demonstrate discipline, I'm going to have to do this 100 times. And then if you do something that's out of character, you're going to have to do it 100 times. What you think? That's a good... All right? Hello, stop! And if we can't work as team, which is one voice at one time, then you're going to have to, everybody's going to have to do this 100 times. Okay? All right, quiet! Everybody say one voice, one time. One voice, one time. All right, so when I say stand up, everybody going to say sir as one team. Up! And say sir! That's it. One voice, one time. Quiet, one voice, one time. All right, back down.
Okay, I'm going to show you guys something with a 3-year-old, and if a 3-year-old can, you can. Okay, you ready, Mr. DeMarco? Say yes, hey! Isam! Say open, knowledge, unity, open, respect. Ibe! Say thank you. Good job. Now, that's a 3-year-old. If he's that focused and disciplined, then it's a poor excuse if you're not, okay? Now, if the other kids who are in kindergarten were just in here, and we had absolutely no problem with them talking or having to be like, can you guys be quiet? They were not disrespectful or rude. So we're gonna teach you guys a couple principles of Kung Fu. It doesn't matter if you can kick straight up in the air. It don't matter how many flips you can do. It don't matter if you're the best boxer in the world. It don't matter if you're the best soccer player, if you're the best speller, if you're the neatest homework person, if you're the best dresser, if you don't have discipline. Everybody say discipline. Discipline! Okay. The first thing you must have in life is discipline. The reason if you do not have discipline, if he goes out and robs the bank and he tells you, come on, we're going to go get some money today. If you don't have discipline, you're going to get in trouble because he told you to do something. You want to get in trouble because he told you to do something? Okay, so that's discipline. Discipline means having control over yourself. Everybody say discipline. Discipline. Control over yourself. Control over yourself. Okay.
Y'all put together. Y'all want to bet? Alright, let's see if y'all got it. When I say how do you feel, you say super good, you're getting better, sir. Oh yeah. How do you feel? Alright.
That was weak. Y'all didn't eat breakfast this morning, did you? That was weak. I thought y'all supposed to be strong and older kids. The little kids was rocking it in here, and y'all weak compared to the little kids. They was blowing the roof.
Okay, we gonna play a little game. If you can say it louder than me, Miss Kimber, and Mr. Marco, then Mr. Marco gonna have to spin in the air and do a twist upside down. And you know what? I have never seen anybody spin in the air and twist upside downwards. So that means we better do a good job. But if you guys really want to see if he can do it, you got to be louder than us. You think you can be louder than us? All right, on 3, we going to go super good and getting better. Oh, yeah, then we going to go to you guys. Ready? 1, 2, 3. How we feel? Super good! Oh, yeah! You will not beat that. No, you will not beat that. All right. If you think you can get more energy than us, everybody stand up. Ready? When I ask you how you feel, it's one voice. Hello? Gotta control your emotions. Gotta stay focused. I'm gonna ask you how you feel, and you gotta respond back super good and getting better, sir. Oh yeah, and you cannot hit anybody in the back of the head now. Take your hands out your pocket. Everybody listen up. Hands on your side. You can't put your hands in your pocket. How you feel? All right, everybody down. All right, quiet. So, did we win or did they win?
We won.
They beat us?
Yeah.
Oh, man. I respect the laws of mankind and live by the laws of the universe created. Sir, at ease. Sir. See, whatever you want to be in life, you got to say it over and over and over. Speak up real loud. Should you have your hands? You're in a corporate office right now. You're trying to get that good job. Should you have your hands in your pocket? All right, say it like a young man.
Respect.
Thank you. Give him what? Thank you. Have a seat. Someone else. Yes, sir.
Discipline.
Thank you, sir. Someone else. Yes, sir.
Self-control.
Okay. Oh. Yes, ma'am. Who had a hand? Didn't you have your hand up over there? Yes, ma'am. You can stand up.
I just lost it.
That's okay. Give him one for effort. All right. Do something. So I gotta give him a beat because he's our showstopper. All right. When the music goes, you gotta go. Come on, go. That's how I like it. I like it loud. I like it functions. You gotta be as loud as possible. So everybody start clapping like this.
work with Al Green out of Memphis, Tennessee, out of Stax Recording Studios. I work with Carla Thomas. I work with the Commodores, with the Whispers, with Aretha Franklin's sister, Irma Franklin. Experience was fantastic. They're like superstars in the music fields. Like you see a basketball player who plays basketball is a superstar. Michael Jordan, well, Al Green's a superstar in the music business. And me working with them, it just helped to humble me and teach me how to be a better musician. I traveled all of the eastern states, from Texas through New York, and just about every state in between. Music has been with us forever. I mean, music is a part of us, our spirit, and we actually show people how we are through our music. If I'm happy, I sing happy songs. If I'm sad, I sing sad songs. That's why we have blues, we have hip hop, we have spiritual music, we have all of that. That's what music. Because of our kids growing up with hip hop music and understanding it, and I think we tie all this together with the discipline that we have with the Kung Fu, and it's going to just help to change our kids around. I mean, I look at the generations that we've lost in the streets because they have no direction. And I think if you can pull this together, you would give them some direction, and we will give them direction and teach them how to get back into. They're grown, they're fast-fed, they're fed with hormones, they're fed with all kinds of things to make them grow fast. And what happens is that we eat this, and we become what we eat. So our bodies begin to degenerate because we're eating. In '99, I became very ill with rheumatoid arthritis. And of course, rheumatoid arthritis is a disease that actually cripples you, makes you hard to be able to walk and things like that. I wasn't able to walk. And so I had to start to change the way I ate because I've been eating bad all my life. So I had to change the way I eat. Started eating better, and I had to start exercising. That's why that if you exercise and you keep your body in physical condition, you can burn off a lot of the stuff that you don't normally burn off. And then I started taking nutritional supplements, all natural nutritional supplements. And by taking the natural nutritional supplements, I was able to rehabilitate myself, and I am now being able to have my flexibility, play golf, play my guitar again, and do all the things I couldn't do because of the illness that I had.
And what is the supplement that you're taking now?
The supplement that I take is called Tunguska Blast. You notice I have my pin on. It's called Ask About the Blast. But it's a remarkable product that was developed in Russia back in the 1960s and 70s by the Russian. And it has 10 of the 12 adaptogens, and adaptogens are herbs that are not harmful to the body. And these adaptogens actually go in and starts with in your cellular system. It starts to help to rebuild your body. And once you start taking it, you'll see that it starts to help to heal the things that are bothering you. It gives your body an opportunity to start to rebuild. I would say that you have to. It's not just one thing that's going to keep you or bring you back around to where you need to be at. It's a combination of things. It's the exercise. It's the music. It's being able to spiritually have your own spirit, understanding your spirit, understanding your body, and you taking the products that are good for your body. The good things, you put good things in your body, and good things. I mean, I think that you have to pray, and I think that you have to be within your own self, your own spirits. You have to, you just have to rebuild yourself, rebuild your body. That's all. It's all about your body.
Introducing Tunguska Blast.
The event in Tunguska was apocalyptic. No one really knows exactly what it was. Scientists have speculated that perhaps it was a meteorite.
Meteoric or atmospheric circumstance occurred in this area over Russia, and I think the jury is still out as to what did occur.
Nonetheless, what we do know is that since that time, the restoration of the fauna, trees, low-growing vegetation, has been almost phoenix-like. And out of these ashes has arisen plants that are growing at a rate that is significantly faster and greater than any related plants elsewhere in Siberia.
Having been the former head trainer of the New York Mets, I was hearing a lot of parents say, well, what does my son or daughter need to do?
This is a healthy, helpful, natural, non-toxic, unique nutritional supplement.
I've seen thousands of products come across my desk, but the Tunguska Blast is by far the best product.
There's no question in my mind that these ingredients have a potential of helping people, especially those individuals who are suffering from the adverse effects of stress, to go to a new level of productivity, a heightened level of health, and to overall enrich their lives in ways that wouldn't otherwise be possible.
People all over the country are experiencing the blast right now for the first time.
And I'm a paralegal in a law firm, and I could find that I was focusing more.
It's the best thing we have ever done. His grades had went from D's, C's, up to A's and B's.
And at the end of the day, I still have plenty of energy.
I'm an obstetrician and gynecologist, and so I started to recommend it to my patients.
And obviously being a primary care doc, I take care of children, I take care of adults, teens, geriatric patients. And it's literally changed the prescribing habits in my practice because I notice I'm prescribing a lot less medication.
The product isn't designed specifically to help you with your weight loss, but for me it did.
We know that this product works at the cell membrane level. I use it in such a wide variety of my patients because of what it does to help people with sleep, weight gain, helping children focus and concentrate in school.
Well, as a nurse, obviously I encourage some to take it and share my own experience.
It's out there and it's a natural alternative. A physical therapist came to me and she said that I have to be on this product.
We all know just from personal experience that when you get tired, you get wore down, your immune system breaks down.
This has been an absolute miracle for me.
It's unique, life-changing, and without a doubt, the next giant in the $1 trillion nutritional industry.
Well, I mean, even the name sparks a lot of interest. People want to know what Tunguska Blast is.
The Tunguska Blast of 1908 is such a fascinating story.
You can go online and go read the history books and read about this event.
Oh, Tunguska Blast is just absolutely phenomenal. It's wonderful taste, wonderful flavor. You wake up in the morning and you've got to have it.
And I'll tell you something, I feel better than I felt in my entire life.
This book right here, it's the next best book next to the Bible. Next best book. Life altering right here. Life altering is the truth. It's the truth right here. Go out, purchase this. It's not just for martial arts, it's for life. This is for life. Life lessons are contained in these pages. Going through struggles, frustration, adversities, turmoils. This is it right here. Going through a real bad time, doing much of nothing, running with the wrong crowd. Got into some trouble. Told my dad to go out and give me books. I want to read. He came back with this book. All the other books, I don't even know what happened to them. This was it. One night, just read through, I was like, this is what I'm talking about. Got out of my situation, got my life together. Here I am now. Competing, fighting, teaching, training. Life lessons right here. Life lessons. No doubt.
even try. You finished painting the picture even before I started. You set out my footsteps and formatted my destiny long before, never really giving me the opportunity. You don't feel my composed pain. You don't see the tears go and allow me to grow in the shadow, cause that's all I knew. I didn't know me. All I knew was how to be you, but now I'm more conscious, more aware of truth, channeling more into self. Life is just now starting to make a little sense to me because I'm peeling away the pre-established image of the shy, timid little girl who doesn't want to disappoint family, so she accommodates their feelings since it's more convenient. But I've learned that the people who know you the least are those closest to you because they think they figured you out even before you figured yourself out. Yeah, I can only imagine how shaken your soul must be, but you must trust that I won't neglect my spirituality. I know my foundation. Let me grow. Trust me. Respect the fact that I have an unquenchable thirst for knowledge, and I respect the fact that you find satisfaction in the basic information passed on to you. Respect the fact that I find no satisfaction or contentment standing still in status, and that I am willing to venture out beyond the teacher's thumb, and I respect the fact that you're satisfied with the comfort of your zone.
I'll be right here to jump with hands at the time. Take my mental name and take you a while to get through that. And I ain't do that, but I will do some talking on it. You can find me in the pre-intender. We in there, you can find me in the pre-intender. We in there, you can find me in the pre-intender. We in back at that mind, been there bumping on it. So when I you out to these heads, they make them over and pick up, leave it any better than damn. Lyrical on playing, playing like every tender to work. That's what you heard, coming out of the breeze for representing the bird. Yes sir, like a wizard, a wizard, magic motion for wizard. Cutting through like some scissor, want my piece of the pizza. What you getting from this side? Homie, I'm on your sister. We gon' do it in this side. If you roll this for side. Got my team on my shoulders, got my famous opponents. Got my CD on press like they was TV Republics. Face focus to notice, there's a chance that you fail. When it's from messing with that, talk my black jail. No more chance in hell, I can't let that be true. Got more economic, got more data to prove wrong. Try my shoes on, bet you get me them, so get your in on my bootleg.
What we're going to do now is warm that body up. We got that conditioning part. Fatigue will make cowards of us all, as the old saying goes. So we got to be in shape in order to make all this stuff work. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 4, 3, 2, bam, 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 bam. Yeah, 4, 3, 2, and 1.
Still moving, man, out here with my man Bam. You know what I mean? And bam! There it is. You already know, man. In case you ain't catching positive energy and keep it percolating, you know what I mean? Out here supporting the family business. That's how we do. We got the family out here. That's why I hear some of your tennis. Bam! There it is. You already know, man. In case you ain't catching, bam! There you go. Let me speak, yo, under the weather on and run. It ain't no fun because I'm
come for you. Let me speak, yo. Let me speak, let me speak, yo. Let me speak, let me speak, yo. 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 They lock me up, yo, and chase me away. I had to find my way to I had to find myself. I had to take a stand. I had to use the negative and turn it to something positive. You know what I'm saying? I had to take the stand, yo, and be a man. I had to find a way out the cage. I couldn't be no slave. I had to take that stand and be that man, and that's what I am today. You know, I know who I am. I know where I'm going. I'll never go back. No policeman can get me down. No policeman can make me frown. No policeman can make me scared. No, that's not how it is. I'm taking the stand. I'm taking the stand. I'm gonna do what I must do to overcome the obstacles and pitfalls of the world today.
Gotta have a new attitude. That's what I got. New focus, port, new spirit. That's just elevating the urban spirit. That's right. It's a spiritual thing. It's everything. It's not just hip hop. It's bebop, jazz, soul, rock and roll. It's everything. Most importantly, it's about awakening the spirit, bringing us to a conscious level of self-awareness, self-development. That's what this whole thing's about. Martial Mix is just the extension of it. We're trying to go beyond the martial arts community. Once again, we're trying to go to the root. Go to the seed. Go to the seed, yes. Go to reach all those kids and teens that are at that level that need to have some direction, have some true awareness, some true leadership. Just people living by the principles, the codes. No drinking, no smoking. And most importantly, trying to be honest about their downfalls and their shortcomings and building themselves up. As Les Brown says, if we fall down, as long as we can fall down on our backs, we can get up. But guess what? If you fall down and you fall down on your face, all you got to do is just rise up on your knees and your palms, and then you can stand back up. No matter how you fall, but you just got to get back up. Don't let yourself stay down. That's how it got to be, man. That's what the urban spirit's all about. Never, ever let anyone on this planet break your spirit, because that spirit is a godly spirit. It's a universal spirit. It's a deep spirit. It's beyond any human interpretation, explanation. It's liberation, y'all. That's it. As many of those leaders pass on, people like myself and other people that are now put in that position because of our age, our wisdom, our experience, and our focal point. We gotta pass the torch. As a matter of fact, the torch has been passed on to us. And we gotta raise the bar, raise the standards for the next generation that follows us. So I'm saying, everybody, stay strong, maintain, do the right things, keep focused, stay focused. It's about peace, love, harmony, and happiness. And without true character, a constant improvement on our own character from the inside out, it's impossible to rise up. Journey bringing peace up on this planet. Peace, harmony, and happiness. Peace goes out to everyone. Yo, I'm the track. Yo, all my life I tried to get by, but breaking the laws to take a stand around the way. Yo, back in the day, I was the one who did the robbing, the cheating, the lying, anything to get my thrills. You know what I'm saying? But inside I could not cope. I found a way to start to sell dope. I didn't care about no hope. I'm trapped, the trap, the trap, I'm trapped, the trap, the trap, yo, I'm trapped, the trap, the trap, I'm trapped, the trap, the trap, yo, I went to jail for what I did, yo, I was guilty for all that.
you know, but I'm blessed. I found a way to take a stand, yo, in that cell. I dropped to my knees and begged for plea, asking God to find a way to help me out and let me do what I must to overcome. A brother like me can't even cope when you look at the police, everybody around me getting their stripes for me, you know, and add it to their resume so they can make a way of using me to get on up, yo, and using me as a stepping stone, yo. I'm trapped to trap, yo, trap, 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 I'm trapped to trap, 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 to trap, yo, I'm trapped to trap, 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 to trap, trap, I'm trapped to trap, 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 to trap, yo, I'm trapped to trap, 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 to trap, trap, I'm trapped to trap, 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 to trap, trap. I took a stand, yo, dropping to my knees, asking God to help me out. I could not cope, yo, I wanted out. I wanted to straighten up, you know, and do what's right and take a stand, yo. And I did it as I read anything that was available, any book like Malcolm X.
I was looking for something more involved with what we might call the spirit. How to be a spirit, a protector, make the world a little safer, and ended up in Japan in the 1970s, where I was accepted in as the first American to study this Japanese ninja martial art. This is before there were turtle movies, all kinds of things like that. Nobody knew about what this was. And so I had a lot of adventures over there where I had to really completely reinvent what I thought martial arts were, how my body moved, how my body worked. So I had the perfect teacher because he was so different from me. And a lot of people think, oh, I want to find a teacher who's like me. There's some value to that. My teacher was so different that I got to learn a whole different way of approaching things in life. And one of the things that my teacher urged me to do early, because I came from a very, maybe we would call it a stiff or linear kind of a martial art. And so one of the things he recommended right away was, he says, you should study Japanese dance. I didn't come to Japan to be a ninja to learn how to dance. And I didn't say that to him because he's my teacher, but why do you want me? He said, well, because using the music, using the position, Japanese dance is very subtle action where weight shifts, a small movement of the hand tells a lot of the story. He thought it would help break me out of this mold of being so tight, so stiff, that it was making me kind of insensitive to what my training partner or an enemy would be doing. His message was we need to be very sensitive to what the enemy is doing, and that way we can come back with just exactly the right thing to do or to say or position ourselves. His answer was music. We should use music. So when you have somebody looking at this 1100s, 34 generation old method, and he said, yeah, of course, music. Different types of music. We can be very traditional today. What about today's music? How the body can naturally express itself, how we can take some of our own culture, whatever our culture is, whoever we were as we were growing up, use that as a touch base. We can go ahead and start, we can learn, we can celebrate who we are. So I would totally support that kind of training angle, because the little children have grown up with that music. They've grown up with that form of dance, that form of movement. So now we can capitalize on that, capture that, but then turn this into martial art. You got a more precise movement with a natural body feel. I'm really interested to see, what you're going to do with this. Hip-hop music, a kind of movement, a kind of ethos, a kind of philosophy, an expression of who we are, and martial art, which is a goal of transformation. How am I going to be different? How am I going to be changed as a result of that? So we take that familiarity. I don't know what it's going to look like, but I'm interested to see what you can come up with this and how it works. I believe it's possible.
Out.
It's so related, it parallels, because it's all about kind of like expressing the body in a creative manner. So in the same way like a martial artist would, in a sense, even though you're throwing a punch or a kick, but it's still part of your body that you're expressing this I guess it's like, even though it's fight action, but it's all about, I guess to me, creating this beauty of movement. And to me, hip-hop is absolutely, it's fascinating because the amazing tricks that guys can do. And then actually you can see similar moves within hip-hop, especially if you find some of the capoeira stuff. So it really is like one
great connection. Number one, hip-hop plays to a young audience, so does martial arts. Also, both of them are physical things that require rhythm, coordination, and stretch. So all of dance, especially hip-hop, it's in the martial art lifestyle program. And it's great that we can get a hip-hop group to come over and actually martial arts so that martial arts become mainstream. Because they definitely mainstream their own dance and music and styles of the inner city hip-hop movement became mainstream in America and even the world. So if we can blend the martial arts into hip-hop, I think it's all going to be bigger. Well, of course, movies were played in the inner cities, in a small audience, in the basically ethnic areas of the country, in theaters that were exclusively for the films from Hong Kong and dubbed in films. The 70s martial art movement began in the inner cities. So this is another reason why it's a advantage of martial arts.
Back home, we got the great one, the wonderful one, Miss Cynthia Rothrock. She's going to deliver a positive message to us. Come on, Miss Cynthia, talk to us.
Hi, everybody. I love you all. Back from my old stomping grounds, but you guys keep training hard. Your instructor, Liam, said I was the queen. Well, you know what? He's the king, and the king rules. So you guys are on the right track. Train hard. Love you, and hope to come visit you and see one of your big students. She's going to coach you, and she'll come in every week and train hard. Contact her. We'll all go at the time. We'll do some sports stuff. We'll do Tai Chi, right? We'll just have a blast. I'm sure you'll never forget.
You better come back.
I will. I promise Thursday I'll be there. And you got it on film now that she said that.
You can't say I'm gonna be great and go and then walk like you're lazy. When I say punch, you gotta punch like you mean it. The Popo's coming, yo. Get low. It's a game. Game, boy. It's a game of death. It's a game, boy. Game, boy. It's a game of death. Game. It's a game of death. Game.
To play games with me.
I'm only 16 with 5 bullets in my chest. I died 8 times, I got 1 life left. Some rappers got one demo, man, I got a whole stack. I did Cadillacs and I like a lot of black. I guess you forgot the way your bulletproof vest. AG, deny text under the S. I study Kung Fu when I know the handsets. Don't get smacked by the KO can attack. I'm a true player if you know the real deal. I still just how it is in the field. Your life could be stolen with just one knife. Take out your lights, we ain't even expecting a fight. Play the game smart, don't even try to test. Ha ha! The game of death. Game of death.
It would be more than a mistake.
Don't be that clown cat in the back of the club that's gonna get the second half of the slug. You know what I'm saying? Don't be the other cat in the front of the club, sitting back trying to show me some love. Feel me, dog? Everybody walk the walk when they come with the fifth. till they get stabbed. The hunger stronger than fifth. How you think your man hard was? You better remember this game, then you better stop playing. It's the game of death. He laid the rest. Yo, it's the game, boy. Game, it's the game, yo.
It would be more than a mistake to play games with me.
It's the game, yo. A child is born with no state of mind. He was blind by the way that daddy left him behind. God smiling on you, but he's frowning too, because only God knows what you've been through.
Growing up in the ghetto, living the second wave. His mom was on welfare, catching the second case. Hopping while the boys keep watching. I thought they were on to protect the rest, trying to keep us in stripes, but I'm a make things right.
What Willie Bam did back then, before he was even really known, with the flips and the real sincere, what I would consider the true style of Kung Fu, where they do what's the Bugei. They do 36 different styles with the different weapons. They have the spears and the different things like that, and the broadswords. He was already doing that extreme stuff back then. He was definitely the pioneer. He was definitely the pioneer. He was definitely the pioneers, if people don't know, is Willie Bam. He would come out with the Kung Fu. They would stop everything, and they would open up rings. And back in the olden days, the karate rings were almost like a 10 by 10 or a 12 by 12. They were not 24, and they were not that big. And Willie would come up and say, could you open this ring? And everybody would stop the whole tournament. He would open up 3 rings, run down, do a backflip, come back, backflip, and take years.
And the martial arts is very inspirational for both young and adults. It's very important for us to keep the culture, keep the respect. It's very important. Even though we come from different styles and different systems, we always have the honor of respect and honor. That's what we're talking about the 60s, bare knuckle. We talking about Hawk, Frazier, Delgado. We talking about the old days when when the opponent was scored, the opponent was down. This was like it was a very rare time. The breed of fighters, those breed of fighters in those days were very acceptable. Very, Hawk, Frazier, Delgado. They always take it without arguing. Whether you won or lost, it didn't make a difference as long as you know. Perfect example, Thomas Hopper. He might lose, but in his heart he knew he won, but he never changed. He would always be calm, be very respectful. So nothing changed. His demeanor never changed. And that's what he teaches, as before he passed on. No matter whether win or lose, whether you know it or not, you don't change. You don't stomp, walk off, and have a tantrum, and just because that takes a different. Can you name some of the people you have on your shirt? We have Tariq Cassell, we have Hawk Frazier, Louis Delgado, Sheldon Wilkins, Chuck Norman. Who's that right there in the center? Errol Bennett. We have quite a few. We got Jumping Joe Hayes, and that looks like Mr. Paul Vizio. Exactly. Yeah, that was doing forms, even though he was a PKA super lightweight undisputed champion. Here you go, right here, man. What's up, Big Pimpin'? Mr. Arnold Mitchell, B-More legend.
hurts when you get hit. So don't get hit and don't get into fights, because it's not that much fun, trust me. I've been doing this for a living for a long time, and it's more fun just to spar around and be friends with each other. So be a good guy and do not go beating each other up. It hurts after a while. I met John Belushi at a New Year's Eve party back in 1979, and nicest guy in the world. He was playing the drums along with his wife Judy, and we kind of hit it off because he'd been seeing me fight on television several times. So we just hit it off and started talking, and he asked me what I was doing that summer. And that summer he was going to do the Blues Brothers tour, and I was going to retire that summer. So he said, "Why don't you go on tour with us?" I said, "Sounds fun to me." Had a good time while he was alive. Don't ever do drugs. He didn't think anything would ever happen to him either. So it's not a good thing. Just pay attention and just live life to its fullest. Jackie Chan killed me in the movie. I'll never forgive him for it. I smoldered, I shuddered, I still smell like smoke. I got electrocuted, and I didn't like him for that at all. He wouldn't let me die good. He let me get electrocuted. But he's a really, really nice guy. Very, very talented martial artist, and of all the martial arts people, he's probably one of the nicest. Being able to sell the scene with his face. I die in all of them. I died in The Force of One also. Chuck did a good job. My neck still gets stiff. Why do you go and bring that up? You go to bring up working out in the 50s and the 60s. I am a wonderful person. And now you got to go and rub it in. I got more hair than you do, Willie. So there, martial arts has always been a big circle. It's a big, big globe. First of all, there was only wrestling. You have something I wanted, I tried to take from you back in the caveman days, right? Cro-Magnon, all that stuff. You got something I wanted, so I try to grab it. Then pretty soon I learned how to punch you. Then pretty soon I learned how to grab it and twist your arm and break your arm so I can grab it. Then all of a sudden I learned to kick and punch. Then I learned how to box. Boxing is probably one of the last things that was used because of the rules and so forth. Then there was karate techniques. Then there was the ninjas, and then the Muay Thai, then the kickboxing. And then from all this evolved the MMA. And then it will go back around to the kickboxing. You go back around to normal boxing, normal wrestling. It's always a circle. Sparring in those days was fun. And one thing I always told myself and told everybody that I ever sparred with, if there's a chance that somebody's going to get hurt, I'd rather it be you. So, and I try to control my techniques, but a lot of guys didn't. I was a kicker. So, you kick somebody in the face and they get really mad, and you can see their face change. And all they want is to take your face off. And it was always fun for me. Even though I was champion, I never lost. It was still just fun. I never tried to beat anybody up. I just like to kick them in the head. I had an absolute ball doing what I did, and I respected everybody I ever did it with. Have fun, respect people, and live life to its fullest.
There you go. Who's that?
All the power shots that you can ever watch in a boxing match. Have me ever actually hurt them.
That's it? Stay here.
All the rest of you guys. Eric Hendricks.
Let's go,
Make the hands expand. You strike into the muscle. John Mayer. I feel like the price will be there. John Miller. You go through these kind of fast, but if you'll come up and receive
You don't mind. He's special agent with FBI. He's ready.
Right? See ya. Let's go. Go. 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2. Turn this way. Turn it away. Turn around. Everybody watch their face. No, I want you to watch them. Watch. Go. Look at that face. Look at that body. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Now watch this step. Down, across, down, across. You gotta drop all the way down. You gotta do a real stance. Drop all the way down. Look at me, feet are flat. Keep doing it. Down. Rock your shoulders, keep bouncing. Head down. Watch. Bounce. 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 What? Now watch. Up. 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 Look at him, he got more energy than that. Come on. And back. Circle. Circle. And back. And go. Circle. Circle. And back. Everybody. And back. Let's go. Come on, let's go. Arms stay straight. That's it. Come on, keep your arms straight out. Let's do it, everybody. Just do it. Don't worry about it. Worry about nothing. Come on. Look at this little boy over here making this noise. Say it again. Look at him. Come on, let's go. Let's work. Let's work. Come on. Y'all better suck it up. Come on, let's go. What? Hush. What? Hush. What? Hush. What? Hush. What? Hush. 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 What? Hush. 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 Come on. Come on. What? 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 Okay. Yes. Okay. Yes. Okay. Let's go. Put it out slow. Hand out. Fingers. Wrists. Elbows. Shoulders. And thumbs up. There you go. Fingertips. Come on. Let's go. Let it go. Come on. Come on. Keep on. Let's go. Keep your arms up. Keep your arms up. Keep your arms up. Keep your arms up. What's up? What's up? You gonna walk and you gonna go. You gotta have a right stance. Sit down in a horse stance. Turn your toes straight ahead. Turn your heels out. Put your hands on your waist. If I can make one line from here to there, that's the correct stance. Sit there. Now put this hand on your side and put this one out with a straight back. Head up. Shoulders up. Put the hand on the angle. Sit down there. Sit down. Put it out. Straighten your back up. Okay. Let's go. That's it. Come on, let's go. There you go. Come on, let's go. I
want to give you guys a little bit of background about the team real quick. They used to compete in the sports karate circuit. Some of them are world champions. Professor Bam's son is the world champion, carrying on the legacy of what Professor Bam has done in the competition arena. He's also going to be going to Spain in November to represent the United States, and he's been asked to join the Chinese. Students on here have overcome some sort of obstacle or journey in their life, whether it be teen, peer pressure, whatever. Our daughter, she was attacked by a pit bull and her arm was bit in half, and she lived in the hospital for like 6 months. You know, some of the kids had really, really bad grades and brought them up, and now they're like joined at the hip, and they're all honor roll students. Some of them had graduated into high school with presidential honors and things like that. The most important thing about this team, though, is the message that they carry. They're out to change the stereotype of their generation, that there are no more Martin Luther Kings or any powerful leaders of their generation. Everybody says this is Generation X. That means it's gone. There's no hope for this generation. They're here to prove them wrong through their message with the martial arts morals and principles of the martial arts. They've traveled the tournament circuit for like the last 5 years. This last year, they decided to take a step back from competition and to start traveling the world to give back to their communities that they can come in contact with, going in and talking to their youth, their peers, their younger kids, trying to influence them in the positive aspects of things in life. And they've had a chance to work with Arnold Schwarzenegger, so much more recognition than what a trophy could ever give them. Not only that, for kids to come up and have them sign their shirts, they know that what they're doing is not a waste of time. And throughout every class this week, and I hope you guys got the message that we love kids and we want to empower them with every breath that we have. There are two people that Professor Bam feels that the team would not be up here without. One is Mr. Beasley. Professor Bam educates his students on his past, present, and future. And he tells the students about Mr. Beasley and why it's important to come to Karate College is more than a kick or punch. When Professor Bam was down and out and doing a lot of negative things in life, Mr. Beasley still treated him with the utmost respect and kept in contact with him and treated him as a fellow black belt. And then the other person that is responsible for the showmanship launch of the Bam, and they used to call him Lil Bam, but he don't want to be called Lil Bam no more. He want to be called Marco. So the person that's responsible that Professor Bam would like to thank is Mr. Jeff Smith for his Karate Help Kicks Diabetes. The martial arts night of ballet is one of the most beautiful things that I've ever seen displayed on tape. And because of that, they would like to dedicate this performance to Mr. Jeff Smith and Mr. Jerry Beasley.
This is a
DJ Ame
exclusive remix. That's right, and make sure you log on to the website djamaze.com. Come on. West Coast, Midwest, down south, ladies, fellas, all us, ballers. Put it in the air, rip when you stay. Put it in the air, rip when you stay. Put it in the air, rip when you stay. Niggas take a step back, play a good shit and fade. Holding up the kush, put it in the air. Holding up the kush, put it in the air. Holding up the kush, put it in the air. Let us know we in here. Holding up the kush, put it in the air. Holding up the kush, put it in the air. Holding up the kush, put it in the air. Let us know we in here. Go drive it, ladies, go drive it. Go drive it, go drive it. Go drive it, ladies, go drive it. Go drive it, go drive it. Go drop it, go drop it, go drop it, ladies, go drop it, ladies, go drop it, go drop it, go drop it. Pocket, you don't know me. Pocket, you don't know me. Pocket, you don't know me. I'm sure you heard me, I'm that boy on them big shoes, beating up and down. I ain't from around here, I'm from around A, but you wouldn't understand it if you ain't from around here. And down here, in an A4B, that PD, it's going down. Ask them boys about that real town. 11, 12, relax. Put the cake on my back and I'm back. Just, it's a celebration, that's what it is, get back. But you can go keep getting it.
talking to the popo. Slap your hand with the popo. Don't go around. Boy, I hate that, but don't go. Put them gorillas in the mountains on you. You snitching like what's all that? What's the on me? You probably see me in Florence, but you don't know me. So look at how get that cool and start dumping that you. I ain't gonna start in this shoe. You can't avoid this. Bitch, Mr. Jackson, this is the let's get in the line, let's go out. Leave everybody in your man house crying. That's what
Yes, ma'am.
Do you remember that?
No, ma'am.
Never let no one tell you that you cannot do something that you really want to do. If your heart is in this, go for it. You are the one that determines whatever your faith is. Don't let nobody tell you that you can't be what you want to be. And the gentleman that's getting ready to perform here, believe it or not, he began his interest and desire in becoming a martial arts instructor right here at McKim. He came to McKim Center at the young age of somewhere between, I think he was around 15 years old. He said to me, I want to teach martial arts. I said, boy, you don't know nothing about martial arts. Who do you think you are? Get out of here. Now, you know what he did? He did not pay attention to my negative talk. He had it in his mind and his spirit that this is his passion. This is his love. This is what he wanted to do. What happened is I had a gentleman on the staff by the name of Mr. Kenneth Parker, who saw Mr. Bam, Mr. Willie Bam Johnson. We call him Bam. He's now known as the Bams. A tremendous program. Well, Kenny saw his ability. Kenny brought Bam back to McKim. They came into this building right here, and they began to practice and work out, learning how to do gymnastics and martial arts. We used to have a trampoline in this building, and Bam can identify with this. I would come in here and see him and another guy by the name of Dwayne. They would be bouncing so high on that trampoline that I thought they would touch the ceiling. And look how high that is. That was the beginning. That was the beginning. So what happened is that Kenny taught them the gymnastics. Bam had already had that ability within him to do martial arts and gymnastics and the flipping. So Bam and Kenny and Dwayne and maybe about 10 other kids, they formed a group. When I saw them a little later on, they were phenomenal. We used to take them around to different churches, and they used to go on a stage, no bigger than this area here, and they would come off and do flips and do stunts. Then Bam took it to another level. He had this passion still to be a martial arts instructor, and he'll tell you about all of his credentials and how it was. He, in turn, took this thing to the level where he traveled the world. Now, he told me most recently of a story. We used to give Bam money to get on a bus all by himself Lafayette Project all by himself. He had that desire to compete. He also reminded me of his uniform, and you'll see that in some of the videos. He designed his own uniforms. Miss Jackie Jackson, God bless her soul, Jackie's no longer with us, used to make bands. Band would cut out the patterns, and Jackie would sew his uniform and travel. So that's where he is. Now, I'm going to tell you another thing about Mr. Spann. Back in the day, Mr. Spann had this side of what he wanted to do and do it right. And then he had this side of his life where he had an opportunity, not an opportunity, he kind of went off the track. He kind of got out there in the world. Everybody know what I mean when I say off the track, out the world, off the world? What do you think I'm talking about? What did Mr. Spann do back then? Sure, back then, everybody was involved with drugs back then. That was the only way that you was gonna what? Get out of the projects maybe, or make money. So he had an opportunity to learn all of that. But he also had this thing in his heart, in his soul, about I am gonna be the best martial artist in the country. His idol was, you know who his idol was when he was doing the martial arts? Say it again. He loved him some Bruce Lee. I mean, he used to dress, had the movies, the whole thing. So he's gone full circle. He's gone from, I believe he even got incarcerated. He kind of went to the bottom, but he always kept his passion in front of him. And today, what he has accomplished makes, I'm quite sure, him feel good, but he's brought his son, his rest of his family, and he's doing this thing. And you know what? He's been away from McKim for, I want to give you maybe 20 years almost.
Yes,
He's been away from McKim 20 years now. Guess what he wants to do right now? He wants to come back home. He wants to be able to teach you, and you, the same things that he's learned. The discipline, the dedication to this. And if this is all possible, we're going to make sure that it happens. So I go back to my original statement. Don't ever let nobody
Hi, I'm John Painter. I'm a Chinese martial artist from now over 38 years now, and training law enforcement, military, and police, as well as teaching Bill Cosby. I worked with Kenny Rogers, was Louis Prima, and also Ramsey Lewis, the jazz musician. Worked with Craig T. Nelson, who played Coach and was on the show The District. Also worked with Cindy Crawford. I taught her Tai Chi Chuan many years ago. And lots of other individuals that need to remain nameless because they don't want me to tell them what we're doing. For a long time to help people understand that martial arts is a great deal more than just harming other people. The basic concept and principles should be to make you a better person in your heart. The more you know about feeling comfortable with yourself, and the more you know about feeling at one with yourself, the less you'll want to hurt anybody else. So actually martial arts breeds a feeling of confidence, and once you have confidence, you don't feel like you have to prove something to somebody else. All you got to prove to is yourself. You're your own worst enemy. That's who you need to be fighting, not the guy on the street. I'm supporting Willie the Bam Johnson and everything he does to help get kids and other people to understand that drugs and stuff is not the way to go. He shouldn't if he wants to follow his own lifestyle and end up dead somewhere, but if he wants to realize that he can start from nowhere and become very hip, wealthy, or have his act together and end up helping other people, then he ought to listen to what we've got to say. But then again, I can't force anybody to do that. I can tell you a story. There was a very wealthy, rich man named Rockefeller, whom I'm sure people in New York have heard of. Mr. Rockefeller, when he went around, would tip everybody $1. And no matter what they did for him, he'd give them $1. And they'd look at him and say, what the, you doing, give me a dime. Why are you giving me a dime? And he would look at him right in the eye and he would say, because when I started, this is all I had was this $1. And I didn't have nothing, and I started from the bottom, and I worked my way up to owning the whole town practically. And I did it with this $1 dime. So you start with $1 dime, you can work your way all the way up. It doesn't matter if you're black, white, green, yellow, or purple.
You can work your way up. Educate yourself, understand and treat people nice, treat people kind, love people, love yourself first, and then love everybody else, and you can be a success. I don't care what part of the world you come from or how low in the ghetto you come from. You can be a success. It's easy in your heart, but it's hard in your action. Get their own act together because they're the one that's hopeless. They've given up on people. When you start giving up on people, our society starts to break down. Our society is breaking down all over because we've got these divisions. We got this group over here, we got that group over here, we got black kids doing this, you got white kids doing this. Most of you don't know me that are watching this, but I grew up with what you'd call a black grandmother. She was with me more than my own parents were. I was raised with a whole group of kids in Texas, in a southern part of Texas, deep southern part of Texas, where you didn't do that. But I grew up not knowing the difference between black, white, brown, or green. And I'm still confused by what people have that's a problem with that. You know, yeah, okay, I'm Mr. White Guy, so I've got everything going for me. That ain't right. There are a bunch of us start down in the bottom with nothing. I started with nothing. I worked my way up. I used martial arts to get there. But I had to believe in myself first. And I don't care what color you are, what race you are, what creed you are, what religion you go for, or no religion you go for. If you don't believe in yourself first and you don't respect somebody else next, you're never going to get anywhere. You're just going to be down there in the bottom, being mad at everybody because it's all their fault. It ain't their fault, it's your fault because you're not doing nothing about it. I think if the hip-hop and the rap and all that stuff presents a positive message and lets somebody know that the whole world is not their enemy, but their whole world is within themselves, and that the only enemy they have is themselves, and they can fight their way out of anything. There's no such thing, really, as that concept of repression. It's what you're repressing in your own heart and your own mind because you don't believe in a higher power, then you're lost, you're doomed. But if you take music and put it into martial arts and use it, then it's amazing. I'll tell you another guy I didn't talk about a second ago is one of my heroes, but he's old school, you know, in terms of music, but it is my kind of music, was James Brown. I do my Bagua Zong to James Brown. I do my Bagua Zong. I do my Xing Chuan to James Brown. I put on I'm Black and I'm Proud, and I dance up and down, and I jump around. I put on I Feel Good, and I'm going all over the studio with my sword and my weapons and everything else. I'm boogieing, I'm going for it. I get into it. My spirit gets high, and I feel good. I do. I don't mean that as a pun. I feel good. And I'm 64 years old. All right, and I'm still hanging out there with 24-year-old guys doing stuff because the spirit has lifted me up. The inner energy has lifted me up. The Chinese call it chi, some people call it the soul, some people call it spirit. If you got it, you feel it inside, you let it out, it's infectious. Everybody loves it, everybody comes to you, they want to be part of what you're doing. Everybody wants to be noticed. You watching this right now, you want to be noticed, you want to be somebody, you want to get your few minutes of fame. You're not going to get it being part of a gang. You're going to get the gang noticed, but you're not going to get you noticed. You get noticed when you're in the obituary, when you got the bullet in your head. But you're going to get noticed if you decide to break off and do something on your own and be your own man and be a success. And I wish all of you that, and I bless you all, and I hope you make it.